Welcome back into Central Texas Game Day. The number 3 Aggies are on a bye this week, but we still have plenty to talk about this team. And joining me to break it all down, starting with the LSU game, is the voice of the Aggies, Andrew Monaco, back for your 3rd time.
Yeah.
We love doing this.
Yeah.
Huh?
Am I at the top? Am I at the leaderboard? Am I at the top of the?
Are.
Oh, good.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Listen. Last week was really something special out in Baton Rouge. I mean, that's got to be probably your best experience in Death Valley to date, right?
Yeah, easily. Let's see, it was the 2019, and that's when they ran roughshod over everybody in college football, which was special in its own way, but not for the Aggies. To have that chance late, 2 years later, and then even carry that lead into the third quarter 2 years ago, and then the interception in the third quarter changed everything. And you got a chance to see Jaden Daniels as well for LSU now, but for Texas A&M, just unbelievable that I thought in that second half imposed their will.
Yes.
And you could see what is separating those two SEC schools was in that third quarter. The confidence of Texas A&M, and I don't want to say lack of confidence, but I think A&M may have put some of that lack of confidence. Like, again, they imposed their will on the Tigers, and that just had not happened in Baton Rouge, but it did on that Saturday night.
When you want to talk about a big difference maker between these two programs, how about Tommy Moffitt?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny, a long time ago getting into this business, anytime you see a new head coach, always see who the strength and conditioning guy is. That's the key. And one of the reasons why Brian Kelly is not there, because the 3 previous head coaches had won national championships. I get what the expectations are.
Yes.
But that comes with the entire team. Head coaches are as good as their assistant coaches and their analysts. It's also as good as their strength and conditioning coach. And it was personal for Tommy as well. That might have been the sweetest, was what Tommy from Moffitt was able to experience.
How could you not love seeing him walk out of there that night, arms in the air? He was pumped. You could see him on the sideline, his excitement. And I really love that, because I love how much the players care about him too. But really what he's been able to instill in this program seems to me to be that they are able to wear teams down. And you watch the way that they continue to seemingly get stronger in the second half. Yeah. Versus maybe in years past it was, hey, we're going to take our foot off the gas a little bit, however they felt. But wow, this year, especially this year, it seems like they continue to get stronger. They wear other teams down, and they're not nearly as tired as their opponents at the end of the game.
No, the opponents are saying 60 minutes is enough, and the Aggies are saying, let's keep playing. Right? You have that. So what happens over the course of the season is every time that a player may not have wanted to do those extra reps, now it's paying off. And we always talk about that light bulb that burns brighter inside players, and there's a reason for that confidence, and you like that feeling of imposing your will. That is now paying off for this team.
You know what else is paying off for this team is the halftime adjustments that they're making. Boy, would I kill to be a fly on the wall in that locker room when Mike Elko is talking to his team at halftime, because they come out when they don't have a strong first half, which doesn't always happen. Sometimes, the offense scores on their first 4 drives in the first half. But when they go into the locker room at halftime and things are not where they need to be, they come out in the third quarter with a fire that it's almost undescribable. Just also the adjustments that they're making schematically that seem to make a huge difference, and it flips the game on its head.
Yeah, and the beginning of that third quarter, so that drive that puts the Aggies in the lead that they would never lose, then KC with the punt return. But in between, you have to have the defense make that stop and force that punt. The momentum absolutely flipped. And I think this is from that belief and understanding when Mike Elko says it is a 60-minute game. Coaches would love for it to be decided at 30. That's not the way it happens in the SEC. You have that, but you're right about the adjustments. And look, it's going on throughout the game, but there's that chance to take the breather and be honest about the assessment and work on it, as opposed to, we'll be okay and we'll get to it next week. No. We're going to get it on that very first snap. And yeah, that has been special. And then you start looking into, okay, do you defer on the toss? So can you do the old boomerang and score late and get another one? Or at very least, everything had gone LSU's way. You go into the locker room, you're only down 4 on the road. Could have been a lot worse.
Yep.
And I think sometimes that's part of the message if we do clean it up, but once again, they did. There's the confidence on this offense that hasn't been here in a while. I think it's that combination of there's one thing about learning how to win, but what are you doing? What does it take to win? They are doing those things that are leading to the win. Now, not just hoping to win, and to your point, imposing that will that, okay, you want to tap out after 60 minutes? That's great. We've got you. And again, that's what made it so special, that usually the games have not been decided. That one was decided going into the fourth quarter.
Well, and tell me about what it must have looked like, a rare scene at Tiger Stadium where the LSU fans pretty much cleared out.
Yeah.
And the Aggie fans that were there seemingly took over Tiger Stadium. I mean, they're doing LSU chants, they're doing A&M chants, and then at the end of the game, they're sawing them off, and you're going, I don't know that I can think of a time that another opposing team's fans have come in there and taken over a stadium like that.
Boy, you would have to, my first thought is it would be maybe under the Jerry DiNardo years. Would it be something like that? But I think it's a testament to the 12th man traveling, as they did to Notre Dame. And I think it was a testament to what that meant to the fans and the players. And to do that at the end of the fourth quarter, it was like Kyle Field East. It really was. And they took that opportunity, and that's what it meant. And that had to be eye-opening to the brass of LSU. It had to be that they came over and took over a place that is notoriously difficult on a Saturday night. Look, I love what was the question that Mike was asked that Brian Kelly had been 20 and 1? 20 and 2.
20 and 2.
That's right.
He said 20 and 2.
Real quick to put that in there. Now, here becomes the question. So they won that Saturday night, right? And now they have to do it again looking forward. Like, that's great. And you run into a bye week, and they literally ran into the bye week, whether it was a punt return or the run game or Marcel running. They ran into that week. And I think they are learning what it takes, that we can all look down the line at this game, that Missouri's next, right? But they took care of business. My question to you is, how many trap games can a team have in a season? Because it seemed like every Saturday we heard that's a trap game. But they handled it again. I think can you filter out all the noise, and I think it's that focus and doing what you have to do. They have learned how to win. It's not something that I think it's in their DNA now, but it's not a guarantee. You still have to do those things to win, but I think that's what's ingrained in them. All the lessons that they've learned from the past, all the lessons that they've learned, all that preparation, they understand that we have to do this to give us a chance on Saturdays.
Yes, and exactly what you said. It feels like every week now is this a trap game? Is this a trap game? But I feel like the biggest difference really is this team knows how to win in different ways. They don't seem to overlook anybody. They go in with the same intensity against an LSU in Death Valley that they did against Utah State here at Kyle Field at 11:45 a.m.
Correct.
And so I think that's a big difference maker. And honestly, when I look at this group, I go, they still haven't played a full, complete 4 quarters. They've won handily, and they have still not played a complete 4 quarters on both sides of the ball, and that to any opposing team should be a very scary thought.
But that they may not have peaked?
Correct. That they may not have peaked, and they may not have put all of it together at once. I thought the second half at LSU was a very, very good example of complete complementary football, and I think that, again, but if they do that for a full 60 minutes, what are they going to hang 75 on somebody?
Maybe.
They could, right?
Maybe. Yeah, you make a great point. Now, what I like is they're not allowing those lulls to affect, right? Okay, it's happening. Can you keep moving on, as opposed to that being the anchor that drags you down? They keep moving on. I'm with you. I thought the second half, that was all 3 phases.
Yes.
Working in conjunction with one another and helped. Momentum is so hard to get. It's hard to keep. It's hard when you lose it to get it back. They seized that momentum and they kept it. They never allowed LSU to get it back. When you allow doubt to creep for another team, that's big. That's really big.
So now at what point do Aggie fans throw the battered Aggie syndrome out of the window?
It's not gone yet.
No, it's not.
Because last year at this time it fumbled through the fingers.
Yes.
Like this is like every team that doesn't play well in the postseason. The regular season is nice.
Yeah.
But that now here comes the test. They were 7-1 at this point last year, and they lose at South Carolina, and they lose at Auburn in 4 OTs, and they lose to Tech. They had an opportunity to go to Atlanta, and it slipped through their fingers. This is why a number of players came back. This becomes against Missouri the first step. That's not even going to tell the complete story. I get what you're saying though about the battered Aggie syndrome, and I like something that Mike said when he talked to the Touchdown Club in Houston. I wasn't here for that. You can talk about it, and I don't think it was a shot at the 12th man. I really don't.
No.
Like, okay, I get that that's part of it. I think his way of saying it, this is different.
Yep.
Without saying this is different, right? Beginning of the year, he said, look, the guys who played 3 years or 4 years here, they don't have a winning record. They still have to learn how to win.
Yep.
So big thing is like, this is what the young guys now know. And for the older guys, it's like, okay, that's now in my past. This is what we do moving forward. No, I think that's always going to be there because look, there were teams in the past where, when the first CFP ratings were coming out, they're there, and then they go to Mississippi State and it all falls to pieces. Mm-hmm. So I think that is there, but I think the more you watch, that's why I joked about the trap games. Yep. Okay, they didn't fall into that trap. Now you go in with, I think, the more confidence, but Missouri's not an easy game, right? And they're going to be coming off a loss. And what we're going to do, now it's going to be a new quarterback. That's a new challenge going into that. But again, because A&M, it's not just walking in on a Saturday, they're going to know on a Wednesday, did we prepare correctly? And if we didn't, we better get better. And I'm not thinking that's at the end of practice. Might that be during the course of a rep or after one of the practice periods? So, yeah, I just think it's a team that's I don't want to say comfortable, confident, maturing, all those things that go into it that give them, the upper hand. It's one thing, like, when was the last time they were the favorite going into LSU?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
even, like you're seeing those things, but I think it's the more seeing that you see, the more believing that or more belief that you have in this team.
Yeah, and I think, I'll be honest, I think a win at LSU should be a big difference maker in how the 12th man is feeling about things. It doesn't take everything away. You're absolutely right. It doesn't. But you look at the performance, you look at the talent level, and this feels like there hasn't been this much talent across the board on a roster here in some time. And, when we look at different sides of the ball over the last couple weeks, the last couple times we've talked, 1 week it was like the offensive line has to improve. Well, since then,
no sacks.
They've looked
again. They don't
phenomenal.
even want Marcel to be touched.
Right.
Heck with the sacked. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then flip that. When early on we're talking about, hey, the defense has to have a big performance. 7 sacks.
Yeah.
I mean, they reached their last season's sack total less than halfway through this year. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, last week me and Alex Miller were talking about the LSU game being won in the trenches. And wow, did both lines, I think, really, really show up big for this team. And I think that's another thing to look at is that both sides of the ball, anytime that they've needed improvement in an area, it's not, all right, it'll take a few weeks, or we hope to see progress here, or maybe next year. No, this is, you have an off week. That next week, that group is coming back and looking to be the best group on the field.
Nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. Yeah, it's funny because after the Auburn-Oklahoma game, before Auburn came into Kyle Field, Mike Elko said, you better believe that that's going to be the best coached and the best unit on Saturday. And I know towards the end, again, wearing them down, they got to, but they didn't give up 10 sacks. And I asked Mike this week, that defense, it's not going to be the same performance against Arkansas. And it wasn't. Again, it's one thing to have depth. It's another thing to have depth and talent. So it's not all Cassius Howe on that D-line. It's TJ Searcy got a sack.
Yep.
And there's Deion Hayes. There's Rylan Kennedy. There's DJ Hicks. Albert Regis taking care of his business. Oh, and you know what? Maybe we're going to bring a little pressure. And it might be Dalton Brooks, or it might be a lot. That's the thing. And then think about towards the end of that game that you're getting true freshmen on that valuable playing time. So you know what? The next time they go to Death Valley, it's not new for them at all. And to see them perform, not just getting snaps, but performing. But you make a great point about that offensive line. Like, yeah, we have to get better. Not just, oh, we have to get better. We have to be Joe Moore award-winning better. And to your point, for the 12th man, for the nation to do it on ABC on a Saturday night, that also is the attention getter. And if you're watching, you're going, man, they are talented on all three phases of this team. And you're watching, if you're a fan, you're watching the unselfishness. You're watching Reuben Owens pick up a blitzer to allow Marcel to run for 41 yards. You're watching all that hard work to free KC on the punt return. You're watching the celebration for one another after a touchdown. Like, you're seeing all of that, and I don't think you can fake it. I don't. I think it's something that's genuine, and that joy for one another is something that you really, really like to see.
You absolutely can see it. They look like they're having so much fun out there, and
Correct.
obviously that happens when you're winning.
Yeah.
But man, when you're executing at that high of a level, it's great when you see, they always talk about, you know, I was happy for my brother that he did this, or, you know, I was so excited when Ashton Bethel Roman scored a touchdown. Like, they are all genuinely excited for each other, and somebody that they all have to be through the roof, over the moon about is Cassius Howe, because the season that he is having is one that I sit there and every single play you're going, wow. And we talked to the coordinators earlier this week. I don't know that Jay Bateman could have said I love that kid more. In 3 answers about Cassius Howe, he must have said it upwards of 10 times.
Yeah.
And just the way he goes, I love going out to practice with him. He, you know, and Elko said it earlier in the year. He attacked his senior season with an intensity and exactly the right way that the coaches wanted to see him do that, and it's paying off.
Right, and not just for number 9.
Right.
It's paying off for the rest of that defense. And now if you're just a teammate, I'm not going to say a young player, if you're a teammate, how can you not do the same thing out there? Now, in fairness, a lot of those experienced guys had that same attacking the practices. You know what I mean? Like that's big. But I don't know if we can say this, but every time I watch 9, all I can think of is cha-ching, cha-ching.
That's right.
He's just going to get paid next level. But that's what you're looking for in that spot. You know, it's funny. I talked to Mike earlier about, even in the course of a season, like this year, being QB1 for Marcel Reed, he's at the top of the scouting report. And let's say Le'Veon Moss is, right? So for Cassius Howe, with those 3 NFL D linemen, he's at the top of the scouting report. But Mike brought up something interesting. He was at Bowling Green also. So it's not entirely new. Right. So he knew that and has taken that here. And to your point, just attacking each rep. I have to tell you this, and you've talked with Trey Zune, and I said, Trey, you know how iron sharpens iron, and this offensive line is better because of that defensive line every day, and vice versa. And I said, Trey, do you ever feel sorry for opposing left tackles having to go up against Cassius? And Trey chuckled and he said, yeah, sometimes I do. So I flipped it when I'm talking to Albert Regis.
Yeah.
I said, you have to go up against Chase Basantis every day. Do you ever feel, and he stopped me right there. He goes, no, I don't. I absolutely don't. But that is that imposing the will, right? Albert had no sympathy whatsoever. I mean, Chase Basantis is moving men.
Yes.
There.
Yes.
And that's the beauty out of all of this. Again, all that work in the dark is paying off for them. And then I think they're understanding what it takes. What does it take? Like, again, you're going to play Missouri. They're going to have to stop 9. There's not going to be a one-on-one any longer. And if there is, more power to Missouri to see if they could do that. But how does it affect that entire offense? Is a running back going to have to chip him? You're going to have the tight end. It affects the other side of the ball, and that's exciting. The other thing is, when you start seeing, when you start comparing Cassius to Myles Garrett, like, and how about Myles going, okay, now you got to get 5, son, right? But when you're doing that, or Jamarian Morrow to Travion Williams, or Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver to the Christian Kirks and the Mike Evans, that's exciting. I mean, now you can put it in a historical level, and I think it allows you to understand just how special these performances are each Saturday.
And how special has QB1 been this year? Marcel Reed, he is doing, I mean, pretty much everything that you want to see out of him. Earlier in the year, not a passer. Okay, that's gone. We
Right.
heard Elko say, can we get that narrative out of here? I don't know who came up with that.
No.
But what he's doing in the air, on the ground, using his legs, really seemingly just being smart, picking his spots. And now he is very much in the conversation of this Heisman race.
Yeah.
Colin Klein said it earlier this week. He's straight up, do you think he can win the Heisman? Absolutely, was his answer.
Yeah, he belongs in the conversation. He absolutely belongs. His team is winning. He's making the right decisions. He's accounted for those touchdowns. He's trusting that offensive line. There are times, and you've seen it over the course of the season, there's the escape route, and he steps right back in and goes through and gets to that next progression. He's throwing guys open. It's interesting. What he did last year in the second half against LSU was phenomenal. He did it with his legs. He only threw twice. One was that deep pass to Noah Thomas, but he's such a different quarterback. He's completely different because back to what Cassius has attacked, that's Marcel on the field, off the field, in the film room, and just trusting everything. You can trust those running backs. You can trust those wide receivers. You can trust those tight ends. You can trust that offensive line. And again, he's made himself better. This isn't, I hope to hit KC. Again, you go back to the first game of the year and he misses the deep ball.
Yes.
He's not missing a deep ball, right? And it's not just those two. Now it's Ashton Bethel Roman, and now I've got Terry Bussey. And then you saw you saw Isaiah Williams, and you saw TK Norman, and you saw Johnny Ryder. Like, you're seeing this, like that all, again, that reward of that playing time. But for him, he has made himself into the QB1. He's made himself into the leader. That's not just on Saturday at kickoff. It's everything that goes with it. On this campus, on that practice field, in that room, first to the meetings, up front, when the team gets together. Like, it's those little things and those intangibles that he has said, yes, I've got to be good at all of it, and it's paying off. But where he was last year at this time, look, remember, he didn't play against Missouri last year.
Right.
Connor was actually the better matchup against that defense. That's another adjustment now for Marcel, right? But if you just look at the difference of year to year, and last year LSU, the type of quarterback, and this year LSU, the type of quarterback, he was the spark plug. Now he's the Heisman Trophy contender. And honestly, he deserves a ton of credit, as well as the guys who are surrounding him. That includes coaching staff as well. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it. And that kid absolutely, to use the cliche, walks the walk, that everything that comes with it, that responsibility of being QB1.
He absolutely does. And I couldn't have said it any better. And
Talk to a teammate?
Yeah.
Beam. They love the kid, right?
Everybody, every single person
offense,
you talk
defense,
to,
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Every single person you talk to, he is as advertised, and he is everything that A&M stands for, represents, and wants out of their athletes.
Yeah.
And that has been really impressive to me. Another thing that's really impressed me about Marcel is the growth that I've seen week to week. To your point, earlier in the year, he was just missing that deep ball by a couple steps. And Elko said, he might be getting a little bit excited when he sees that, and then rushes it a little bit. And so, not a bad problem to have, actually. Right. You'd rather him not sit back too long and then, miss opportunities. But what I saw an adjustment made was during the Arkansas game. He hit Ashton Bethel Roman on the sideline, contested catch, and I think I tweeted, I said that might have been Marcel's best pass of the year. Because to be able to actually make, again, back to the adjustments, but make those adjustments throughout the year, throughout a game, in between halves.
Right.
It's a reason that we're sitting here and this team is 8-0 at the second
because
bye
he's
week.
doing it here.
Yes.
He's working with Ashton Bethel Roman on because that has to be inbounds. The steps have to be right for Ashton. He's got to make that catch and give Ashton a ton of credit too, right? But he drops that right in the bucket, right? It's perfect. Yeah. I'm going to go back a tad earlier. That's the best throw. Please don't get me wrong. But do you remember in the Florida game, Torian York said after the game, We were mad that Florida won the toss and took the ball because they knew the first play was the bomb.
Yes,
They knew it. They were mad.
Yes.
They were mad that
That's
Florida
right.
took the ball because they wanted to take the field first. But what does that say about the coaching staff? We're getting the anxiousness out of the way. You're going to make that throw on the very first play. That is scripted. You're going to do it. But to me, it's that testament to, I didn't make that throw. Oh, it'll come. No, let me work on it. Let me work on that pass to Ashton or to whomever. That is all the work here and out there to say, I am going to get better at that. He's made himself into a terrific passer. We know the legs. I don't know if we knew all the speed. He can really get up to speed for sure. But I think I like the trust the most, the trust in his teammates, the trust in that offense. And I know that trust is both ways from the other 10 on the field with him.
Yeah, no doubt. And also watch him at least once a game make somebody miss embarrassingly. And by the way, it's just a quick sidestep.
So it is.
It's just a
So
little.
it is.
He stops on a dime, sidesteps
Yeah,
this way.
yeah,
We watched
yeah.
Harold Perkins run into next year before he
Did you
just
see Mark Naboo point?
walked
Did
into
Perkins do?
Yes, the whole bit. I'll have to put it over top of this right here so y'all can see what we're talking about. But oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm screaming. I'm
Yeah.
like, it was so it's comical really. He looks like a video game
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
And it's just instinct. And
Right.
it's just reaction in those moments. And I'm like, wow, that to me is just so much fun to watch. I can't say enough about what he's been able to do this year in again, just the maturity and
Right.
the growth
Right.
and all of that. And so just look for that clip.
It's
'cause
a
that is-
riot.
oh my
It's a
gosh. I
riot.
mean, I'll put a couple up because
And
there's
again-
one against Mississippi State too where he just
all it is.
sidesteps and then he's got a clear path. And I'm I don't know how you stop it.
No,
My knees
no.
would stay.
Yeah, yeah.
Would stay.
And
so-
you know how athletic it is, and that's hard to. That's the hard thing to teach. You either have it or you die. So he's
Yes.
always had that, right?
Yes.
But even then, that's another level, right?
Yeah.
For that,
It really
you can
is.
make yourself a better passer. You
Yeah.
can go in the field. You can do all of that, and he has. Now you're combining it with the unreal athleticism. Those are the things that put you in those conversations for Heisman. Does he win it? I don't know. I don't know. But performances like that, plays like that, are the ones that stand out. The record also does it. You know what I mean?
That helps.
And again, if we're talking about to past players, Johnny was doing things like that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
that's the fun part. Like, I love past and present
Yeah.
when it can come together. But you talk about that. Naboo pointing. You talk about a little swing pass to Jamarian Morrow.
Yes.
And it's just a convoy of offensive linemen ahead of him, not just the wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
But there's Armage in front. There's Naboo in front. Like, there's a convoy
Yep.
in front. Those are the things that, this is as harsh I can put it, makes teams quit.
Yep.
To your point, they keep doing it, all of that, for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And when they smell that and they know they can do it, they get hungrier. I like that. Instead of just, okay, we did it. What's next? No, we're gonna keep doing it until y'all can stop it. That's what I really, and that's the men of the 10 that Mike talks about. The other 10 besides the ball carrier going into the end zone. And apparently there are now T-shirts, and those T-shirts are now coveted when you get one of those. I have no idea what size they're going to have to get for that offensive line, but that's the buy-in. The kick return team wasn't the best. They worked on it in the spring, and they worked on it in the fall, and you're seeing that payoff. And that's a lot of unselfishness on that. Bravion Rogers would much rather be the nickel taking those snaps, but the effect that he's having on the punt return as a gunner, like when you know you can make a difference, when you can walk off the field and said, I contributed to that win, I think that's a powerful message to the entire team.
You're absolutely right. And isn't it funny how much we have to talk about on a bye week?
Isn't it great?
With this group,
Isn't it
I
great?
mean, I could literally talk to you forever
It's
about this
awesome.
team and
It's
just
awesome.
what they're doing
Yeah.
because of how many aspects of this group are really just buying into that whole championship mindset
And
that
you can
Elko
and you
was
can pick
setting.
out a position, right? And say, like last year they all talked about Des Ricks and they all tried to pick on Des because of who Will Lee is.
Yes,
Now who do you throw to? Which side?
right.
The linebackers, okay, Scooby went out. Hey, Damian Sanford's a great story. And we kind of forget, Torrey New York's been there every snap. Like he's
snap.
Mr. Dependable. And then Scooby announced the presence again in that game. Pick anybody on that line that you want. Like, that's the fun thing. Same thing, offensive line, wide receivers, tight end, running backs. Like, it's by committee. Like, Ruben's going to get you, and now EJ's going to get you, and now Jamarian, who I know they love, he's going to get you. Oh, and guess what? Here's a little change-up with Amari, who's going to block you, catch a pass, or like, that's the beauty of this is, again, you have to have SEC talent. As Mike says, you have to have NFL talent if you want to succeed in the SEC, and you have to have that depth to go with that talent. And it's really, really nice to see that on the surface, you understand that the record last year was 8-5. And I understand everybody gets judged by the record, but almost like an iceberg, there were a lot of things that happened under that water that are now paying off this season, and that's nice. And for those guys who said, I want to be here for this, they're being rewarded, and we as fans are being rewarded for all that also.
All right, so cancel the bye week, because we need more Aggie football. With
that's right.
Just how well they're playing, how much fun it is to talk about them, all of the storylines, all of the things. But I'm sure we'll be back at it for the Missouri week.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, what do they say? You remember November, right?
That's
here we
right.
go.
That's right. Now this final four stretch of games here is really going to be
memorable.
Memorable,
hope, right?
And really the difference maker where they talk about finish.
Here
That's where this comes in. These last four games, you hear finish the whole year. Well, you're 8-0 to this point. Now is when that finish really, really comes into play.
Agreed. Also, because they're finishing every rep, they're finishing every practice, they're finishing every quarter, drive, quarter, half, game, right? It all adds up.
Stacks
so
up.
you get this opportunity to finish in November. It's a big word. Some folks think it's just a cliche, and I get it. But again, all of that, to your point about Cassius attacking, you better believe he's finishing every rep. That's the kind of stuff that I think it resonates. And again, I'm a young fella. Ooh, he's doing it. I have to do it. I can't. Someone's going to point it out. You know, you're going to see that's the level. And then going forward, who knows? Is that now we're talking about Marco Jones doing that, and Landon Rink doing that, and Solomon Williams doing that. And they're going to say, I've always said this about legacy of players. Isn't your last snap, what did you leave for the next? And I think that legacy of Cassius, the same thing he learned from Nick and the Shamars, and they learned from Nnamdi Madubuike and Bobby Brown and Kingsley Keke and Garrett and Miller and all that. You know what I mean? Like, that's the legacy, I don't know, is ever finished. And you certainly hope that is your legacy of whether it's paying it forward or what did I learn from. And then after their 4 years, they say, yeah, Cassius was so big for me. And then 4 years later, there's one of those guys saying, Marco was big for me. That's what you hope. And I think Mike Elko's always had that as a defensive coordinator with those types of players. And now it permeates throughout this entire roster.
That's why it's important who you recruit into D-line U.
That's exactly
I'm going to
right.
go ahead and say it.
More D linemen under Mike Elko have gone to the NFL than any other SEC school.
Ain't that right?
It's impressive.
It's really impressive. Andrew, thanks so much for
Pleasure,
joining
my
me.
friend. Thank you.
Stick around. We got more coming up.